Hello everyone, Oregon Moto John here. I'm really excited to install this MACO 360 handlebar cushion shock absorption system onto the 24 KTM 300. So this is, going to go on here when we're all done, which will look cool. The biggest thing here is it's going to have some rubber dampeners in here, or they're not rubber, they're a elastomer that will cushion the handlebar 360 degrees around. It has a little bit of a shark bite thing here that'll cushion it. We'll be removing the rubber mounts that are in here. So I've never used this before. I'm excited to try it. A bunch of people seem like they like them, so let's get it installed. We'll go for a ride today, and I'll go through the install, and then I'll try to include a clip at the end on what I thought after the ride, what I thought if they helped or not. So first step is to I guess just remove our handlebars. It's like a Torx bit, a larger Torx bit there, and I think we need like something for the bottom there. I'll see what we need on this for this mount right down here. Let's get started. So in the kit you'll get these rubber elastomers. I went with the orange ones. You get the shark bite, which will go up into here, and you get your bottom handlebar mounts and this clamp, and this is obviously the top clamp, and this is the little shark bite thing that will go up in the middle, and you can order different colors. I went with orange and black because my bike's orange and black. And so I also got the handlebar risers because I have T-Rex arms. I need all the help I can get to the arms. Most of you will probably want them in the forward position and lower, but for me, this is what works. So there's that. These are what your handlebars are mounted onto. These are eccentric, so you can see how they're offset just enough to where you can move your handlebars away a little bit like the KTM mounts, or flip them around and have them a little closer. Again, I have T-Rex arms. I'm going to mount them kind of with the closer in for me, so it moves my handlebars towards me a little bit, so the little arms can reach. Okay, let's start the disassembly. So we just need a T40 Torx bit, or you could use a socket to remove that as well. So we'll loosen up all of these, and then I'm just going to put the handlebars up and over. So we're just going to remove all 4 of these, and then we'll set the handlebars either in the front here or on the other side, just depending on what is going to work the best. And then as I'm going, I'm going to put these parts back to these clamps when I have them removed, so if I ever needed to go back or I sold the bike, all these pieces would be together and you wouldn't have to hunt them up. In this situation, I'm just putting a towel around my handlebars and until we get this removed. Next, we need to remove this bolt. As you can see, comes from the bottom. Got to remove it from down here. So let's go ahead and remove that. So we're going to removing this bolt. These have Loctite on them from the factory. I've had mine off before to put these risers in for this other system, or for the stock bars, but make sure you get the right thing to fit that, and it's on securely and using quality tools. Man, if you strip that out, you're gonna have a rough time. But again, you don't need to heat it or anything, just it's gonna have Loctite, so get on there nice and square, and then we're gonna remove these 2 bolts. So let's go ahead and do that. Just a footnote, I did need to put the bars back in there to get leverage to break these free, so you may want to at least loosen these up before you take your bars off, but I was able to do it with the bars just set in there, but that's just something to consider. If I do it again, I might loosen these before I took the handlebars completely off. I just put a zip tie here to lightly hold these out of the way. They kept flopping around, and then I moved these wires from under this clip out and around so that I could at least release that to move up like that. Now it's just a matter of lightly tapping these bolts through, removing this spacer. Well, I guess the first step is prying out these rubber goodies here with something non-marring. This is kind of a nylon trim removal screwdriver, so you have to pry these out and then drive that through with the bolt. So we're going to get under here and kind of pop that out. With a little persistence, you can kind of get in there and pry around, and it takes a little bit. and then this will pop out. So I've been working the screwdriver around here a while. I did use a little WD-40 in there, and now it seems to be getting to where it's gonna pull out, and here it comes. That's it. And now we'll be able to drive that out with the bolt that it came with. Yeah, great. So here's what came out. So you could argue we're removing a rubber bushing to put rubber bushing in a different place, or an elastomer in a different place. That may be true. That's why I'm kind of curious, you know, what this outcome will be. Now it should just be a matter of driving that out. And I'm going to use a extension so it doesn't mar the surface if that suddenly goes through. Or we could use a plastic hammer. Whoop, there it goes. Okay, that came out easy. Okay, so here's what we just drove out. This was up in here, and we just drove that out from the bottom. So now we'll do the same thing. Pry out this rubber goodie on top, and then drive out the bottom, and then we'll put our MACO 360 cones in, which look like this. And if I believe this one will go on the bottom, but I'll double check that before I weigh in on that. As I was removing the rubber bushing, I did peel up an edge and squirted a little WD-40 in there, and I do think it helped to loosen it up somewhat and come out easier. Okay, there's definitely something to be gained here, because this is the cushion that's on the stock system, you know, just in the triple clamp. I mean, look at the diameter of that versus the diameter of that elastomer. So, oh yeah, we're going to gain some shock absorption. Okay, so the old system threaded, this bolt threaded from the bottom up. On this new system, this will go on the bottom of your triple clamp. It's a 17 millimeter, and then, you know, if you're not using the spacers, you won't have to worry about these. And then this is your top cone piece, the one that's a little narrower, so it'll fit up in there nicely. And then your bolt will go in the top. And then the dot, if you want your handlebars with more reach forward, you'll put the dot forward. See the little dot right there. But if you're like me and you have T-Rex arms, which probably isn't that many out there, you're going to put it back, because these are eccentric. That'll move the handlebars slightly closer to me in the cockpit, which if you got short arms, that's what you need. If you're taller, you got long arms, you want to put the dot forward. So now we're just going to go ahead and just put this right here, put the bottom piece on, and just loosely put that all on for right now. Don't tighten everything up, because we got to get these straight. Of course, I always start this stuff by hand, but here I am just using my 8 millimeter Allen, and just got this, you know, down here. I'm gonna keep this so I can get a hold of it, you know, like that orientation. Then we'll just lightly snug that all up. And in case I didn't mention this, I did put blue Loctite on these bolts going down into here. You don't want that coming loose, so I did put blue Loctite on these threads. So I've got this, I have this light enough to where I can still turn this, and I can still adjust these down here, so I can get everything oriented, even with the handlebars. So let's do the other side. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put this cone on the bottom side on the other side. Notice I have both going the same way. I have my dots backwards, but again, you'll probably want your dot forward if you want more room in the cockpit. But my point here is just serves to say, hey, make sure you have your dots going both backwards or both forwards. So now we're going to use this as kind of a piece just to align our handlebars, so we have this mount straight. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this on here facing forwards, and put some 10 millimeter bolts in the backside, just snug, and then that'll, while that's on there, I'm going to tighten, these handlebars won't be sitting here, I'll tighten down the bolts here and here from the top, so that it'll snug these up and they'll be in a straight position. Then we'll remove this top piece and finish the installation. So here we are, we're just putting this on. You can decide if you're going to go on top or below this. I'm just going to go like that for now. And we're just going to kind of thread these in here. course, I always do this by hand. Sometimes I'll use a socket to get a hold of these. Just easier to turn them by hand than me trying to do that. Of course, I got cables in the way. Probably would be a little easier if you removed all these cables, but I just don't want to go through all that. I don't mind fiddling with a few cables to do the install if it keeps me from removing all that stuff. So here we are. We're just going to go ahead and put this one in. You can see I'm self-aligning a little bit there already. And then I'll put this one in. And then I'll snug these up. Okay, and this is getting everything straight here so that these handlebar clamps are facing the same way. I'm not going crazy tight with them. I'm just going to make sure that there isn't any free play there. Things can't wiggle around. Okay, now we know that this is straight for our handlebars since this is locked that in. Now I'm going to go ahead and you got to make sure that this 17 millimeter down here is where you can get on it. And now we're going to just go from the top side and tighten these down to torque. So here I am just tightening up this bottom. Got my 17 millimeter open end wrench on there. And then we have this top on here to keep it aligned. And how tight do we want these? Look up the torque in your manual, but good and tight. I have blue Loctite on this. You don't want this coming loose. It's what's tying your handlebars to your triple clamp. So you don't want that coming loose. Get it good and tight. Torque it to the spec, appropriate spec. That's where that bottom's out right there. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tighten up the other side. Okay, since these handlebar mounts are tight, we can remove this because we're going to put it in the proper position. So just remove these bolts, take that off. Okay, so now we're going to put this shark bite elastomer up in here. You can change this out for different densities. I'm far from an expert on this, but their website talks about this. Mine just happened to come with the, I think I ordered the green one. Seems to be what most people are going with, so that's about as much thought as I put into it. Okay, now we're going to put the orange elastomers around the handlebars. You can put it slit up or slit down. So just, I guess, be consistent. So here's our shark bite clamp. I'm going to put that down into that now. So that just compresses into there. And then these go around our handlebars. Oh man, this thing's pretty awesome. It's foolproof, and I need that, believe me. See, there it says TRQ first. That means torque first, and that's the shark bite clamp. It says 12 foot-pounds. I mean, it's telling you, the directions tell you, but all these 10 millimeters will be going to, 12 foot-pounds, and it says to torque the shark bite first. So we're gonna, get this on, and we'll torque this orange piece first, or yours might be a different color, but it says torque first right there. So let's go ahead and get this on. And here we go. I have the elastomers around the handlebars. That's indexed, so you can't go wrong. I'm gonna put my bars in the neutral position to start. I'll get that adjusted later. So I put mine with the slit up. You could put it slit down. Somebody has a way that you think works better, let me know. So an important point is instructions say the torque first goes to the front of the motorcycle, which makes sense because that's how you would read it, but just make sure you do that. That's what the instructions say. So the torque first is going forward. And when it says torque first, it means when you finish the installation of the shark bite. So actually you put these 8, 10 millimeter bolts in, adjust your handlebars. You'll tighten these down a crisscross pattern to 12 foot-pounds, and then you'll tighten this to 12 foot-pounds to when you put the bottom clamp on to 12 foot-pounds. Then you'll tighten this to 12 foot-pounds. So you tighten this first, and then that second is your last step. So, but we do put, when it says torque first, it means just with regards to this clamp only. We will torque these down actually before you do the shark bite. So here we are. I'm gonna torque these down now, but just make sure before you torque those down to 12 foot-pounds that you get your handlebars where you want them. See, there's a sight window here so you can get them adjusted. I'm gonna put mine in roughly the neutral position for now. And then we're gonna snug all these up to 12 foot-pounds, and then we'll do the shark bite. Here we are torquing this to 12 foot-pounds. I torque very few things, but when it comes to things like this, I definitely torque. So if that tells you anything, I'm just going in a crisscross pattern, snugging there, 12 foot-pounds, there, 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 there. You get the idea. 12 foot-pounds isn't much. There, and then the last one. Good. So now we're going to tighten down the front of the shark bite to 12 foot-pounds, putting this clamp under here, and then we're going to tighten the back to 12 foot-pounds. You don't do that in a crisscross pattern. You just tighten the front first and then the back. And just a note, when I was tightening down these by hand, would get to where I couldn't get a socket on them. And it was me. It was because I wasn't tightening them. I was trying to get in a hurry. So if you get that where you can't get the socket on a bolt anymore, stop. It's you. Loosen some of the other ones, and then go back to that one, tighten it. And so if it actually is kind of a sign that you're not tightening them symmetrically. So anyway, so far so good. Just be sure to get your bars adjusted before you get this all snugged up. Okay, so now it's a matter of following the instructions on this, which says to tighten this to 12 foot-pounds in the front. So we'll do this one and this one to 12 foot-pounds, and then we'll do the rear, this one and this one. And it says torque first, so can't go too wrong. So there's that one, and then there is that one. I'll check those both again, and then now we're going to do these, and then once we're all done, I'm going to check all of them just to make sure they're all at 12 foot-pounds. Wouldn't hurt. And here's the backwards ones, the rearmost ones. There's that one, and then we'll, of course, do the same to this one. And I'm going to check all of them. And then I was just reading through the instructions. It said with the elastomers, it doesn't matter. You can put them in any orientation you want. With these guys, for the handlebars, for the shark bite, of course, it just goes in one position. So there we have it. Well, I'm going to be riding this afternoon, trying out this high compression head or medium compression two-stroke performance head that I have in there with the medium compression insert. So I'll let you know how that goes, and I'll let you know how this goes today on today's ride. So I'll try to post something to let you know how this went. I've never used it before. I'm hoping it takes some of the small vibration out, but we'll see. I should say I'm very happy with the quality of the parts that were provided for the MACO 360. Super nice. No complaints there. Good instructions, written instructions that came with it, so that's nice. And I mean, down to the packaging and everything, it was nice. And again, you get written instructions that were pretty detailed, so I'm happy with it. So I guess the true test though is how does it perform? But the quality and construction is really nice. It goes without saying, I don't believe this is going to go back on, but that's okay. This looks super cool, so I'm okay with that. This has a note on the polymers. I'm sure this is on their website, but it shows the bar polymer compounds and how you want your ride, stiff medium, soft, or softest. It looks like mine is orange, which is soft. Purple would be softer. And then the orange, or the shark bite that goes in the handlebars, the different colors. Mine is the green one, which is soft, which is fine. I'm looking for some shock absorption for the rocks and roots and stuff, so we'll see how it feels. And footnote, I'm going to assemble this all together, so if I never need to find it, it won't be just like a big cluster. So I'm going to put all the threads in there and put that together. There that is, all put together. I'll just put that in a box, set it aside. And then one other nice feature of this is you can get one of these bolts from the MACO 360 company just as an accessory. So at some point I'll pull one of these out and put this in, and then I can pop my phone on there in drier weather, but it's so wet right now I'm just not going to worry about that. But it's a nice feature, something you could do. The instructions do say not to tie down by the handlebars because it'll be really hard on your polymers, wear them out quickly, and that's fine. I go around here when I tie down anyway, or some people put hooks in here, but I go around my lower triple clamp. So, but that's just something to make a note of. And if looks count for anything, it looks good. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be on the bike. It doesn't look out of place. Yeah, looks cool. It is from all angles. It doesn't look out of place or anything. I like the orange and black. I almost went with the gray stone, but no, it looks like it's supposed to be on there. So I just got back from a ride up in the mountains with a MACO 360. Really impressed. It definitely helped absorb the vibration. It took the sharpness off the edges off of rocks and roots. And sometimes, like, I'll have a whoop and I'll have a root up at the top of one of those, or a rock, and usually I hit those and it's real harsh on my wrists. And this time it was much better. Like, I have a wrist that I broke years ago, or let's just say damaged it, and it does fine except for when I get lots of jarring through the handlebars. Then I'll feel it for a day or two. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, but it felt better. There's just enough absorption here that it's not sloppy, but it definitely took the harshness out. So it helped with vibration over when I was going over roots and rocks. Like the trail gets really rocky, and that harshness that you would get, you still feel it. But instead of me feeling this harshness in my wrist like it was a hard hit, it was more of a softer hit. And it like I'd see a root coming, and I'd be like, oh boy, here comes, it's going to be a kind of an edge here. And instead of feeling like an edge, it felt like I was hitting a dirt edge instead of a hard root or rock. So, and then I didn't feel as fatigued, didn't feel as tired by the end of the ride. Was a little more relaxed with my grip. So I do think it helped my arm pump a little bit, just because I was relaxed. So very impressed. Like and subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and post up some footage of that ride. I'll try to keep it short, maybe just 5 to 10 minutes, just where I talk about the MACO 360, and then I'll also be talking about the medium compression 2-stroke performance head. Got some footage riding on that and how that felt, first ride impression. So anyway, it's a success. I like it. This very well might be the first mod I make on all my bikes. I like it because it takes the harshness out of the steering. I've had my hesitation around a dampener. I have it on my other Husky 350, but I just thought, I'm going to try something different on this just to keep the steering light and easy. But anyway, big success. I like it. I recommend it, and even after a first ride up in the mountains. And I will post a first ride video of footage where I'm actually riding this in the next day or two.